Okay, so it's on to 1984, and we're getting to some real iconic 80s movies now. And first of which is going to be Ghostbusters. Yeah, absolute classic movie. Uh, if you've not seen Ghostbusters, where have you been? Basically, yeah, I saw this movie when it was first released in the cinema. Absolutely loved it. Um, Highly quotable. It's just one of the probably best comedies of all time. Obviously followed by the sequel in 1989, which I know at the time uh, didn't enjoy it as obviously as much, but I've grown to love it a lot more over the years. And yeah, Ghostbusters, absolute classic. Next up, we've got the Karate Kid. Loved Karate Kid 1 for years. Obviously, saw it as a kid. It's now getting a bit of a revival with Cobra Kai, which is obviously fantastic as well. I only actually saw the sequels, which are obviously Karate Kid 2, Karate Kid 3, in the last couple of years. Pretty much when Cobra Kai come out, I'd kind of avoided Karate Kid 2 because my brother told me wasn't very good, and for some reason I just never watched them. But obviously rectified that with Cobra Kai, and they're both good sequels. But you can't beat the Karate Kid. It's got some great music in it as well, and yeah, another iconic 80s film. Next up, we've got Police Academy. Obviously, the first film coming out in '84. That was followed by sequels literally every year for 5 years. We had Police Academy 2, 85, Police Academy 3, 86, Police Academy 4, 87, and Police Academy 5 in 88. Which is just crazy. But they did sort of diminish in quality as they went along. But the original Police Academy is the best. I've seen that countless times. Always remember growing up. The main thing people used to talk about at school was like Jones, and when he used the radio in the police car as like a machine gun to disperse the crowds. Always that stands out to me. But yeah, Police Academy 1, absolutely love it. So the sequels, I say, they do diminish in quality, but they're all right. Police Academy 3, I think, probably been my favourite of the sequels. But yeah, that's Police Academy. Next, we got a sci-fi classic, and that's The Terminator. I can't remember when I first saw this growing up, but I was probably a teenager. Yeah, it's just sci-fi classic, only to be bettered by the sequel. Only actually picked this Blu-ray up a couple of days ago, replacing my DVD. So I need to get it watched in high def, I think. And yeah, what can you say about The Terminator? It's classic. Coming up next, in between the Superman movies of the 80s, we got Supergirl with Helen Slater. I do enjoy this film. It's not the greatest movie of all time, but it was good fun. I can't remember if I saw this at the cinema growing up, but yeah, it's not bad. It's a bit of harmless fun, really. And next up, we got old Jim Jam's favourite movie, The Neverending Story. I've got to be honest, I did watch this obviously growing up, but it's not one that I watched loads. And I don't remember a lot about it. I do need to give it a rewatch. Sorry, James. But it is a good movie. I think, what was the other film that was very similar? Made me thinking Labyrinth was something that I probably drawn to more when I was growing up, that I remember more. But anyway, yeah, Never Ending Story is a classic, and who can forget that theme tune? That's the business. Next up, we've got Red Dawn with Patrick Swayze, Charlie Sheen, Jennifer Grey, Leah Thompson, C. Thomas Howell. Love this movie. I've mentioned this on the channel again before. It's like kids protecting America when sort of World War III breaks out. Used to watch this on repeat as a kid. Don't know what it was about it. Just absolutely love this film. Me and my brother. Yeah. Great film. And coming up next, we've got when Eddie Murphy really made it, and that was Beverly Hills Cop. Another movie is just iconic to the 80s. I've seen Beverly Hills Cop 1 so many times, it's untrue. Axel F playing there, great soundtrack. But yeah, it's hilariously funny. Obviously, you had Beverly Hills Cop 2 in, I think it was 1989. Correct me if I'm wrong. I was never as big a fan of Beverly Hills Cop 2. I did watch it a couple of years back, though, again, and enjoyed it a lot more. Don't hate me for this, but I kind of gravitated towards the third movie, which was out in the 90s, and kind of like that a bit more. On rewatch of that recently, yeah, that's probably is a not great movie, but anyway, yeah, Beverly Hills Cop, love it. Next up, another iconic film, Gremlins. Yeah, what can you say about Gremlins? Saw this growing up. Don't remember it really scaring me, but you just love Gizmo, and yeah, it's just an awesome film. And is it a Christmas film? I don't know, possibly. Next up, we got a John Carpenter film in Starman. I picked this up when it was in Poundland. I never actually saw this in the 80s, and I did watch it and I really enjoyed it. It was obviously about this guy who's like an alien, comes down to Earth and meets up with Karen Allen's character. But yeah, it was a really enjoyable film. Highly underrated, I would say. Next up, we've got some more Arnie in Conan the Destroyer. I mentioned it earlier. Don't remember a lot about this. I know it's probably not as good as the original, but it's just Arnie kicking ass, basically. Next up, we've got This is Spinal Tap. I don't remember a lot about this film. I didn't watch it growing up. I know the iconic scene is the sound going up to 11, if I remember rightly. I don't really want to talk about it too long because, yeah, that's all I really remember about it, but it is quite a funny film. Next up, we've got another comedy, Bachelor Party, Tom Hanks. Obviously, before Tom Hanks went on to do Forrest Gump and Castaway and movies like that. He did a lot of comedies in the 80s, and this was, I think, one of the better ones. Yeah, he had the guy of TJ Hooker in it as well as his mate. Yeah, it's a funny film from what I remember. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Next up, we've got Amadeus, Rock Me Amadeus. Yeah, that's all I remember about that film, really, the song that was released. Yeah, I think he's got a guy called Tom Hulce in it, whatever happened to him. Yeah, I don't know a lot about it, but yeah, it was out in 1984. Next up, speaking of songs, we've got Footloose. Now this has got one of the best soundtracks of the 80s, up there with probably Top Gun. With obviously the title song there, Footloose, with Kevin Bacon, about a guy that goes to a town and starts dancing, and they try to basically ban dancing, and yeah, it's just great fun. They did remake it years ago, but I'll be honest, I've never seen that, and I refuse to watch it. Next up, we've got a werewolf film, Company of Wolves. Don't know much about this. I picked it up again not long ago in a charity shop, knowing it was an 80s film. Comment down below if it's any good, but yeah, I've not actually seen it. Next up, we got Once Upon a Time in America, another gangster film. Don't know much about this either, other than I think it's quite long, like most gangster films are. But yeah, it could be pretty good. And then we've got a film called The Philadelphia Experiment. Nancy Allen's in this. Yeah, I picked this up not long ago. I think it might have time travel in it, which I need to get onto it. I don't remember it from the 80s. But yeah, I need to get onto it. It might be pretty good. Next up, a Disney movie, and Tom Hanks again. We've got Splash. with Daryl Hannah. Yeah, I love this movie. It's another one I've seen countless times. John Candy as well, and Eugene Levy. Yeah, very funny film. Yeah, that's Splash. Next up, we've got another comedy. We've got Revenge of the Nerds. Yeah, don't remember much about this. Maybe this is another sort of teen comedy following on from Porky's. I did see it, but I couldn't tell you anything about it. It's been a long time since I've seen it. But yeah, I think it spawned a sequel as well, which I don't own. But yeah, that's Revenge of the Nerds. Next up, another 80s teen film, that's 16 Candles. And shame to say I've not seen this either. Yeah, Molly Ringwald, Anthony Michael Hall. Don't really know a lot about it, but I know it's got an Arrow release. But yeah, I need to check out this DVD and see if I like it. Next up, I've got a couple of films. Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner, Romancing the Stone and Jewel in the Nile. Jewel in the Nile, I think that came out in 85 as a sequel to this, Romancing the Stone. Yeah, I love these films. They were like a kind of a bit of an Indiana Jones style film, action adventure, and yeah, they were good fun. I need to pick these up on Blu-ray. I know they're quite expensive, but I need to keep an eye out for them. Okay, next up we got probably my second favourite comedy of all time after Airplane and Airplane 2. That's Top Secret. Obviously from the makers of Airplane. I spoke about this before. Absolutely love this film. Val Kilmer in a very early role. And yeah, if you've not seen Top Secret, you need to go on. It's just hilarious. It's just up there with Airplane and Airplane 2, and it's highly underrated in my opinion. Next up, we've got a film that had a remake recently. That's Dune. And I've not seen Dune. I've not seen the new one. Comment down below. Do I need to watch this one first? I don't know. For some reason it's just sort of escaped me and I've just never watched it. But yeah, I do like the look of the new one though. Maybe I should just skip this one and go straight to that by all accounts. Okay, that's Dune. Next up, we got another film. I think I found in the charity shop with Matt Dillon, the Flamingo Kid. Don't know nothing about this at all. Looks like it's got quite a good cast with Richard Crenna. But yeah, I can't really comment on it because I've not seen it and I know nothing about it. So, but it is from the 80s. Next up, we've got some more Star Wars, and that's Caravan of Courage, the Ewok Adventure. Yeah, this was first time after Return of the Jedi we can get any kind of Star Wars action in the 80s. Obviously this was before the prequels come out, and I don't mind them. They're good fun. I remember in one of the movies, I think it's the second one, which came out the year later, Battle for Endor, where the little guy that like moved really fast. I remember it being pretty funny, but yeah. They're worth a watch. I think they are actually on Disney Plus as well, if you want to check them out. Okay, next up, I've got National Lampoon's Class Reunion. Can't remember much about this. I think again it's a kind of a teen comedy from the makers of Animal House. Yeah, yeah, I can't remember a lot about it, but I have seen it. Next up, more sci-fi. We've got The Last Starfighter. It's about a guy plays a video game and sort of gets, basically he was that good at it, he gets called up to a real sort of fight in space and ends up becoming like a pilot and as a starfighter basically. But yeah, I need to get the Arrow release of this. I know that it's quite expensive. Would like to upgrade it, but I did remember enjoying this back in the day. Yeah, that's The Last Starfighter. Next up, we got a bit of Prince in Purple Rain. Not seen this. Don't mind Prince's music. Maybe need to check it out sometime. I think he did another one, Sign of the Times. Don't remember if it was 80s or not though. Yeah, maybe comment if it is. And if you need to check that one out as well. But yeah, Purple Rain. Next we've got a bit of Gene Wilder. An underrated film here called The Woman in Red. This is pretty funny. Gene Wilder is one of them. He can do no wrong in my eyes. The guy who was just a genius, very, very funny guy. And this with Kelly LeBrock from Weird Science. It's a funny film. It's if you can find it anywhere, it's worth a watch. And next up, we've got a bit of Chuck Norris, Missing in Action. This was one of these Nam films that came out in the 80s. There was quite a few with you. Hamburger Hill, Platoon, and this one. Went through a bit of a stage of in the 80s of releasing films about Vietnam, and I remember this one being alright. I think it spawned at least one, possibly two sequels. Don't own them. But yeah, Missing Action. It's not a bad action film. Next up, we've got Drew Barrymore in Stephen King's Firestarter. Obviously, this had the release on Blu-ray not long ago. And I know HMV were doing it for cheap, but I kind of missed out on that deal to upgrade it. But yeah, I've not actually seen Firestarter either. I need to give that a watch. Yeah, I've not seen it, so there you go. And finally, 84, we've got a film I picked up the other week, and that's Electric Dreams. This is probably most well known for the song Electric Dreams, which I think is a very good 80s song. Film, not so much, but a guy who falls in love with a computer. But yeah, it's worth probably a watch, but yeah, it's a bit daft. But yeah, that's Electric Dreams. And that's the end of this part. Yeah, back to me. And before we move on, the last one I've got for 1984 is a horror classic, and that's A Nightmare on Elm Street. Obviously, this is followed up by about 4 sequels in the 80s as well. The best of which for me being the third one, Dream Warriors. Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street introduces to obviously Freddy Krueger. Yeah, absolute classic horror films. Remember watching a few of these, obviously growing up, and I'll be honest, I don't think I've seen absolutely all of them. I've obviously got this complete box set here, so I need to get onto that. But yeah, the horror classics. So yeah, yeah, that's A Nightmare on Elm Street. And that's it. Over on to 1985 now. Okay, so we're on to 1985 now. And first up, I've got Back to the Future. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say about this film. It's probably my second favourite film of all time, or second favourite trilogy of all time after the Star Wars trilogy. Yeah, I absolutely love these movies. I've seen them countless times. Probably personal favourite is probably the actual second one. I don't know what it is about the second one, but I just absolutely love it. And it's one of these films as well, like it's a trilogy, that if I put one on, you've just got to watch all three. And it's like one big movie to me. And I think it's just the perfect trilogy. But yeah, so that's Back to the Future. Next up, we've got another iconic film from 1985. That's The Breakfast Club. I don't remember this really growing up. I did see it growing up, but I don't remember a lot about it. But it is, a very good film. Obviously, it's like a coming-of-age movie. Got a lot of major stars from the 80s there with Molly Ringwald and Nancy Michael Hall, Judd Nelson. I think it's Alice Sheedy. But yeah, it is a good movie. It's worth checking out if you've not seen it. Okay, coming up next, we've got The Goonies. Now, this is another one of my favourite films of all time. What more can you say about The Goonies? It's like a sort of action-adventure film. I know it's mainly probably for kids, but I think anyone can watch it. It's a fantastic family film, really. And got a good soundtrack with Cyndi Lauper there, and yeah, about these kids that go on hunt for sort of treasure to save their house, so they don't have to like move and sell their house. But yeah, it's just a fantastic film, and it's highly recommended to anybody. That's The Goonies. Next up, we've got Santa Claus the movie. Now, believe it or not, I've still never seen this film. For about the last at least 4 or 5 years, I've been saying I need to watch this at Christmas, and I've still not watched it. I used to think I'd maybe seen it as a kid, probably seen bits and pieces, but I've never sat down and watched it start to finish. But I know it is as a Christmas classic, so I'm saying it on camera here. I'm 100% going to watch this in Christmas 2022. Okay, next up we've got the second part of the First Blood movies, and that's Rambo First Blood Part 2. Yeah, this is still a good movie. Not a patch on the original. It's basically Rambo taking on the bad guys sort of on his own, really. Bit like he does in the first one, but this is like he's taking on armies and he's in Vietnam. It's well, it's not bad. It's probably not as unrealistic as say the third movie, which is just gets really crazy. But yeah, I enjoy this one for what it is, and yeah, it's good fun. Next, we've got some Chevy Chase in Fletch. This is actually a 2-pack with Fletch Lives, which was came out in 1989. Yeah, I love Fletch. He's just Chevy Chase at his best, with his sort of sarcastic humour, and I just love it. The sequel as well gets a lot of hate, but I think it's just as good. He basically plays a reporter that goes undercover, trying to sort of bust this drugs ring on a beach, and he just plays loads of different characters in undercover, and it's just hilarious. But Chevy Chase is just quality in this. Next, I've got an Arrow release of a film called Runaway Train. I only actually watched this when I picked up the Arrow. It's a really good sort of chase movie, really. You've got obviously a runaway train. Great cast there with John Voight and Rebecca De Mornay and Eric Roberts. But yeah, it did surprise me. I didn't even realise this was actually from the 80s either. I mean, obviously didn't watch it growing up, but yeah, if you can find the old Arrow release, it's definitely worth checking out. Next up, got another Arrow, and that's Weird Science. Now, this is one I did watch growing up, about 2 guys that basically make a woman. Hilarious film. Used to love this growing up. Got a very young Bill Paxton in it. He's very funny in it as well. Yeah, Weird Science. Great film. Next, we've got yet another iconic film from the 80s, Stand By Me, with, River Phoenix, Will Wheaton, Corey Feldman, and Jerry O'Connell. Another sort of coming-of-age movie about these lads basically on a sort of hunt for, I think it's like for a dead body. But yeah, it's fantastic, fantastic movie, Stand By Me. Highly recommend that one. Next is probably one of my favourite Schwarzenegger movies, and that's Commando. I think this just personifies Schwarzenegger with his one-liners. There is like, there's a good half a dozen or more one-liners in this film, and although it's just probably cheesy as hell now, it's just brilliant. I just love it. I saw that it's in the cinema a couple of years ago for the first time. Obviously didn't watch it on the cinema when I was a kid, but and to be in the cinema with other fans of it, it's just so new. Everyone knew what line was coming next. It was hilarious, but it was a good, hilarious, and it's just a fantastic action movie. That's Commando. Next up, another comedy. That's John Cleese in Clockwise, British movie. I think I spoke about this on the channel before. I really enjoy this one. John Cleese plays an headmaster, and he's sort of never late, and then he's due to go to a headmaster's conference to make a speech, and he basically misses the train, and after that, everything just goes wrong for him. But it's if you're not seeing this, it's highly underrated, and it's well worth hunting out if you can find it. Okay, next we've got The New Kids. This one I picked up quite recently from CEX. I don't even remember this from growing up, but we got this special edition that came out, and picked up at quite a good price in CEX. It was an 80s film. I thought I'll check it out, and yeah, it was pretty good. It's gonna be quite brutal, but I would recommend it. It's a pretty good movie if you've not seen it. Okay, next up we've got some Michael Dudikoff in American Ninja. Yeah, there was quite a few of these movies. I'm pretty sure there was probably a couple more in the 80s. I don't know without checking. I don't own any of them, but this is like the original. I had a bit of a thing with ninjas when I was growing up. I remember watching some old films. I think it was Revenge of the Ninja, and maybe another one. But yeah, love these movies. Are good fun, and this was like this first sort of Americanized sort of ninja movie that I know of, or that they remember. Okay, next up, what I believe I think might be an Oscar winner in Out of Africa. Not seen this movie. Picked it up in a charity shop quite recently. It's out of the collection, but yeah, I believe it's supposed to be a pretty good movie. Next up, we've got Brazil. Bob Hoskins, Robert De Niro. I believe this is supposed to be pretty good. I know it's a Terry Gilliam film. It's another one I've not seen. It was probably not the sort of thing for me when I was growing up, but I need to check this out. I believe it's supposed to be quite good. Okay, next one, another recent pickup, an Explorers. Now, yeah, I've been after this movie for quite some time. River Phoenix, Ethan Hawke. I don't know a lot about it. I knew it was just sort of evaded me for quite a long time, and yeah, I'm going to check this out very soon. As I said, I'm looking forward to watching this one. Okay, next one we got some Western, and that's Clint Eastwood, Pale Rider. Not a massive Western fan. This is more for the collection, really. One thing I do remember about this, I think I saw it back in the day, but one thing I do remember about this is the music is basically I think it's the Channel 4 news music. If you've ever seen that, that's all I remember about it, really. Well, that's Pale Rider. Next up, got some animated, and that's the Care Bears movie on this triple pack here. Yeah, another one somebody watched growing up. Yeah, Care Bears. They did make a sequel as well, I think, later in the 90s. It is what it is, really. Next one is some more Michael J. Fox in Teen Wolf. Do enjoy Teen Wolf. I think this was made before Back to the Future, or at the same time, or there wasn't much in it. But yeah, Teen Wolf is good fun. Teen Wolf 2, Jason Bateman, though, is awful. Next up, got a film I didn't see growing up, but I saw a few years ago. That's Young Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, this was a really surprising movie. Obviously got his Spielberg attached to it, and yeah, it was a good take on Sherlock Holmes. It was a great fun movie. I know I believe Jamie Powell loves this movie, and yeah, I think if I'd seen this growing up, it'd be one of my favourites as well. But as I say, I watched it probably a couple of years ago, and yeah, really enjoyed it. Next up, we got another Western in Silverado. Picked this up recently, just in in a free job lot. I knew it was an 80s movie, so I put it with the collection. I'll be honest, I don't know anything about it other than it's an 80s movie, and it's a Western, so I'll say. I'd maybe get around to watching this at some point, but I'm not a big Western fan. Next up, we've got Cocoon. Believe it or not, this is another 80s film I've not watched. I know this is the sequel there. I don't know when the sequel was out. I think that was late 80s possibly as well. But yeah, I believe it's supposed to be a good film. We've got Steve Guttenberg. But yeah, at some point I need to check these films out. Next up, we've got some King Solomon's Mines. This was kind of like a cheapened version of Indiana Jones. Not a patch on it, but it's really cheesy fun. You've got Sharon Stone there as well in an early role. Really cheesy fun. Worth a watch if you can find it anywhere. Next we've got, I think this is actually a mini-series rather than a movie, North and South. Don't know much about it. It's got Patrick Swayze there. Again, I got this in a free job lot. And yes, added it to the collection. Next up, we've got a sci-fi movie here, Enemy Mine, with Dennis Quaid. This is really underrated movie. Dennis Quaid's character crashes on a planet, I believe, and has to sort of coexist with his sworn enemy, this like alien. Not seen it for a long time, but yeah, if you've not seen Enemy Mine, it's worth checking out. It's a pretty underrated movie. Okay, coming up next, we've got some more Arnie and Red Sonja. This is like a sort of spin-off of Conan. Don't remember a lot about it. I've not seen it since the 80s. Need to give it another watch, but yeah, it's just like similar to Conan really, and it's good fun. Okay, next we've got some more Tom Cruise in Legend. I've not actually seen this movie either. There's quite a lot of Tom Cruise movies from the early 80s that I've not seen. Yeah, I don't know why you got Tim Curry there as the devil, and the lady, is it Mia Sara out of Ferris Bueller? Yeah, it's something I need to get checked out soon. I'll be saying that a lot on this video. Next, a film I have seen, and that's Flight of the Navigator. Yeah, this is a great movie from the 90s. I believe they might be remaking this, which dread to think what that'll be like. But yeah, Flight of the Navigator, got fond memories of this growing up, about this kid basically gets on a spaceship, and when he comes back to Earth, he's like about 10 years have passed or something like that. But yeah, it's a good fun movie. Next we've got some Madonna in Desperately Seeking Susan. Don't remember a lot about this movie either. I think I did see it growing up. I was a bit of a Madonna fan. I know it features Into the Groove. But yeah, apart from that, that's about it. But yeah, bit of Madonna. I need to try and trace a couple of other films from the 80s as well. I think it was Who's That Girl was one. Need to keep an eye out for that one. Next up, we've got some horror. We've got Fright Night. Obviously, this was remade a few years ago, which wasn't a bad movie actually. But yeah, Fright Night, the original, yeah, it's a good vampire movie. Not my favourite. That's coming up in probably 1987. But you probably guess what that is. But yeah, Fright Night is good horror movie. Next up, we've got some Daryl. I have seen this movie again in the 80s, not seen it since. Don't remember much about it, to be honest. But yeah, that's Daryl. Next up, we got some Harrison Ford in Witness. This was a good sort of murder mystery movie from what I remember. Again, not probably seen it since the 80s, but yeah, Harrison Ford did some good movies in the 80s, besides like obviously the obvious. And yeah, this was one of them. It's worth checking out. Next, we've got another one with an iconic song, and that's St. Elmo's Fire, with your classic 80s Brat Pack, with Rob Lowe, Andrew McCarthy, people like that. Don't remember much about this one. I know the song's a great song, but yeah, maybe need to give that a rewatch. Next, we've got some more Matthew Broderick in Ladyhawke. This was kind of like your medieval type movie again. I haven't seen this probably since the 80s either. Don't remember much about it, but yeah, I think that's is that Rutger Hauer? I think that's Rutger Hauer as well. Yeah, need to give that a rewatch as well. Next we've got some Van Damme in No Retreat, No Surrender. Don't remember much about this. Again, I did see this growing up. Obviously, Van Damme started making his appearances. Went on to do like your Bloodsport and AWOL films and films like that going forward. But yeah, I don't remember about this one much about this one. A lot of martial arts, and it's good fun. Next, we've got another comedy. It's picked up recently, but I never actually saw growing up. That's Better Off Dead with John Cusack. Yeah, I don't know anything about this one. I'm gonna have to get this watched soon. I say I don't really know anything about it other than it's quite a big 80s movie, and yeah, I need to get it watched. Next, we've got Biggles, Adventures in Time. Now, I've seen this film lots of times with Peter Cushing and Neil Dixon. Yeah, I really enjoy this film. It's proper sort of guilty pleasure. It's not like probably the greatest film in the world, but I do really enjoy it. It's good fun. And I do want to upgrade this one to Blu-ray as well. Yeah, love it. Next up, we've got from Richard Pryor in Bruce's Millions with John Candy. Love this movie as well. Seen it lots and lots of times. About this guy that basically, in order to get his inheritance, he has to spend like a shitload of money. And if he spends it all, he gets his full inheritance. Or yeah, and it's great fun. He's going around trying to spend all this money, and people are like sometimes getting more money back for him, and he doesn't want it back. Yeah, it's funny. He can't tell anyone, so it's only him knows about it. So when he loses money, he's happy, and when he gains money, he's gets upset. So yeah, it's great fun movie. I believe this is a remake of an older film, but I've never seen the original. But yeah, I love this one. And finally, from 1985, I've got Clue with Tim Curry, amongst others, Christopher Lloyd as well. Absolutely love this. It's basically the movie of Cluedo, or Clue in America. If you've never seen Clue, this is just an hilarious film. It's got 3 different endings, and yeah, it basically plays out like Cluedo with the weapon in the room, and obviously the who the killer is, like it's like Mr. Mustard or Miss White or whatever. But yeah, Clue's a great movie. Highly recommend it. And yeah, that's it for 1985. On to 1986.